Hello my spearfishing community. Now today our video is about changing a flopper. Different divers have different reasons for changing their flopper. Some prefer them on the top, others on the bottom. Sometimes the flopper gets damaged, but in this case this flopper is grabbing on the spear, and I've tried loosening it off and it's not working, so I'm going to completely remove it from the spear. So the tools we'll need for this job is a file, a hammer, and we could buy a pin for the flopper, but that would be cheating. So what I've done here is I've bought a bicycle spoke. Now they must be stainless. Don't go stealing the spokes off some poor kid's bike down the road. You want a brand new stainless steel spoke, and generally speaking they're 2 mils thick. So what we first need to do is remove that flopper from the spear. And so in order to do that, we have to wear off this pin, the head. Grind the head of that pin off, and then it should fall through without too much trouble. Now I know that looked like I just got a Phillips screwdriver to use as a punch, but that was just an optical illusion. There's no way I'd do such a horrible thing like that. So next we have to cut off this threaded part of the spoke, because that's no use to us. So we've cut it off the threaded part. Now what we effectively have to do is make a new head. It's not going to be as wide as this, but hopefully it'll be as wide enough to not slip out. So we're not going to give this a really good beating, because if you do that you'll tend to collapse the spoke onto itself. So what we want to do is just work away at it and make that burr over nice and as big as possible. Now ideally I'd be using a lot smaller hammer than what I have here. So that's just how it is really. I don't have any smaller hammers, but yes, a nice little kid's hammer would almost be perfect. So as you can see, I'm rolling the hammer over, so you're trying to burr over a small amount at a time. I don't know how well you can see that, but burring that over actually took like almost 4 minutes of just steady hammering. Now there is still a very slight curve in that pin, but I'm not too worried about that. And as you'll see, it's the perfect size pin in diameter for the spear. See, just enough play there so that it moves around easily. So now what we do, we get that pin, check which way up. And the other thing is, I've worked on this flopper so that it's not grabbing anymore. Yeah, myself, I like the floppers on the top. So line this up, feed it all the way through, and now we'll be cutting it off, leaving, might give us ourselves about 3 or 4 millimeters proud, so that you've got a bit of metal there to burr over. So I'll get a marker. This is a bit of a chunky marker, so I'm going to make sure that the line I put on there gets cut off. like so. Okay, put that down there. Have this spear as flat as possible. Make sure you've got a nice solid surface. Get rid of this thing. And again, we go through that same process again of just beating it lightly. Now, if you hit too hard in one hit, you can actually bow the spoke while it's inside. You end up with a curve inside the actual pin. So again, we're just going to take our time. I'll skip this process, otherwise you'll get bored out of your tree. Okay, that's pretty much finished. I do think I could have got a slightly better looking finish if I had a smaller hammer. A small hammer with more of a curve on the head. What I'm finding is that the head is flattened. You start bouncing against the flopper while you're trying to put the pressure on the pin. But I'm happy enough that that's going to hold well, that it's not going to slide out, and that there's still plenty of strength in there. Now, as you can see, the flopper is not grabbing on that spear, but what I do want is that when I strike the spear like that the flopper stays up like this. I'll be covering that in another video. Alright, there we have it. One new pin. The only extra tool that I really needed was the punch. That looks extremely similar to a Phillips screwdriver. So there we go. Just something to keep in mind if you get caught out somewhere, and I just wanted to show you the job done with a bicycle spoke, because accessibility of these will always be, well, generally be a lot easier than finding a 2mm pin for a flopper. I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to see more, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.